Welcome to another Pop Culture Deck Tech with Dr. Magic. I'm here today with our good friend, Xavier Warner. Xavier is up visiting us from Williamsport. Good evening, Xavier. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah, well, I can't, if I had this deck and just posted the results you did at an FNM, I don't think I would complain either. So, let's take a look at this deck. It's kind of a deck a lot of people have talked about and played. Very, very powerful and takes advantage of the new standard, the way that they've given us the battle lands with the fetches, and really kind of pushes that envelope as far as we can.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, in this standard, you can pretty much play whatever color combination you want. There's ridiculous decks out there like Jeskai green, Jeskai black. There's 5 color Bring the Light. So like with these battle lands, they kind of push the envelope in more of a mid-rangey format, which I think is really good.
So this is technically Jeskai black.
Dark Jeskai.
Yeah, Dark Jeskai, or we just call it 4-color good stuff, because that's really what it kind of comes down to. So, but there is some synergy in the things that you've chosen to put in the deck, and so let's look at those creatures here. There are 15 creatures. We kind of include Sarkhan. Your comment was when we were looking at the deck, he's never not a creature, so we kind of put him up here. But start with 3 Soulfire Grandmasters.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people cutting these or cutting them down to 2, and I don't agree with it. They're really powerful, especially when you're playing aggro. Like being able to play that, untap, Fire Impulse something, Dispel Mastery, gain 3 life, or Wild Slash something, or Kolaghan's Command something. The life you gain from it is incremental, especially in those matchups where every life point matters until my Mantis Rider comes in and takes over the game. But I think Soulfires are very important, and I want to keep him at 3.
Sure, and if nothing else, he's splashable because of the 1 white, so easy to curve into. Yep. You're not going to get stuck with him in your hand. And the second thing is, if worse comes to worse, I throw him in the way of something, right? You still got lifelink, and you save yourself that damage.
I mean, and the good thing about this deck is it lasts really long in the late game, and then with this bounce back, like I know many times, especially tonight and in the past, I've activates ability and Fire Impulse something, gain 3 life, return to my hand. And they know that I have it, but like they can't overcommand or play another threat that has 3 toughness because they know that the next turn is going to get killed. Same thing with like Crackling Doom and stuff.
Well, sure, yeah. So it gives you some things late game. It's kind of in like Esper Control running Fathom Feeder because late game it's just another way to draw some cards. This one doesn't draw, it keeps it in your hand. Kind of similar to Tasigur, who we'll get to here in a little bit, playing off that. And then the combination that I think is really, really gross, especially in the standard with Soulfire, is the Radiant Flames thing with wipe a board.
That's so good.
Because if you guys don't know this, Radiant Flames deals damage equal to each creature equal to the number of colors of mana spent on it. Now, your Soulfire Grandmaster is more than likely going to die.
Oh, it's dead, yes.
Unless you do it for 1. But every time it deals damage, that spells lifelink. So if they've got 10 1/1s and you deal 1 to each of them, that's just 10 life.
Yeah, I mean, especially against aggro, like if you can go, if they go Swift Spear, Dragon Fodder, and you just go Soulfire, and they don't, you just say no blocks, you have a Radiant Flames in hand, and they don't kill you, like you just Radiant Flames for 3, you hit 3 damage to everything, you gain, at minimum 12, 15 life, and that just, they're just confused, they're hurt, they're just like, well, now I have to start all over again, and they don't like that. So Soulfire Grandmaster is really important, but I can't say anything more about it. It's really good.
Yeah, I think we've said just about everything there is. Wow, I have one other one. It's a 2-drop, so it comes back off of Ojutai's Command if you're...
Ojutai's Command's real good.
That's real good. He might not be the target, though. This guy probably is. What more can we say about Jace? Best card in Standard, best, seeing it in Modern, seeing it in Legacy.
Jace is the best... This is the best Jace has been printed since, the Mind Sculptor.
Sure.
And, it won't get banned because there's so many ways to deal with it with Fire Impulse and Wild Slash that they're not going to ban it. But when Jace the Mind Sculptor was in, I wasn't playing, but supposedly I heard there was minimal ways to deal with it once it hit the table. So, especially in a control shell where you have counter spells, it's really hard to deal with. This one, people can Fire Impulse it, people can Wild Slash it, people can attack, with a loaded board and you have to block with it. There's ways to get rid of it, but it's just so powerful. Like being able to keep, I don't know how many times I kept a 2-lander with a Jace and just a bunch of like 4 or 5 mana plays and just curved out my hand where I can find lands and stuff like that. It's the best card in Standard. That's all it needs to be said. It's the best card in Standard.
Ability to loot is
Murph Looter's a good card.
Yeah, just a good card. And oh, by the way, I flip it over and it turns into basically
it has a little bit of
Snapcaster.
upside. Yeah, it has a little bit of upside.
Turns into basically Snapcaster. And props to you when that card came out. You were one of the first guys to say that card is insane, guys. And
Zach Bowers did not believe me.
Yeah, well, hopefully picked it up at $20 like you did, and then the rest of us, had to spend a little bit more to get ours. But like I said, good card, not going anywhere. Mantis Rider. Mantis Rider, one of those cards that when cons first came out, that card spiked to like $8.
Yep.
First weekend was a Jeskai burn type deck, and that card was going to have a linchpin in it. Fell off a little bit, but making a serious comeback.
It fell off when Thunderbreak came in. Just because Thunderbreak played the turn after, and you can't just swing in Mantis Rider with it and kill it. You have to, double up when you have to 2-for-1
right.
Thunderbreak, which whatever deck was playing Thunderbreak was fine with it because they were followed up with Stormbreath Dragon the next time.
Right.
But Mantis Rider's excellent now, especially with no Hero's Downfall, instant speed, and things like that. It's really good.
Well, shoot, most of the time they were jamming Thunderbreak on 3 because that's silly Elvish Mystic. But, I mean, what more do you want out of a creature? Obviously, little mana intensive, one of each. But shoot, it's a lightning bolt on a stick, flying vigilance, haste, turn 3, comes down, swings in.
I think the biggest thing with it, and people like the haste, they like the flying because of 5 stars, but I think the biggest thing is vigilance, like being able to play against aggro and swing with it, and still have it against block, against like a 1/1 dragon, 1/1 goblin token. They're just, it's hard to come back from. And I safely tap out Mantis Rider turn 3. Almost every game, like I don't think there's a game where I have Mantis Rider in my hand I don't want to tap out for it.
Right.
Unless I don't have the colors of mana with the four colors, but it's really good, and it's just a lightning bolt in the stick. It continues to be a lightning bolt unless you deal with it. So. Right.
Yeah, I think that's really relevant. A lot of nice 2-power creatures. I mean, even a flipped up Den Protector. He just you might lose him, but hey, that Den Pro just went bye. So. Obviously 4 of us. Now we go into some. We've got a little bit of splash here. Sarkhan the Dragonspeaker. If we still had Thunderbreak, that would probably be in that spot, but we don't.
Yeah, that would run like 3 Thunderbreaks.
So yeah. So Sarkhan, you said most of the time just +1.
Most of the time it's Mantis Rider on 3, removal on 4, Sarkhan on 5, swing in with both. That's 7 damage. By that time, the Mantis Riders hit twice, so they're dead. Or close to it.
Yeah.
But Sarkhan is a removal spell sometimes. Playing its aggro, like sometimes I have to play for 5 and just kill that last, Goblin Token or kill that last Swift Spear. Like sometimes you just need it to happen because then they worry about having to attack into that next turn, or it becomes a 4/4 dragon that can't be destroyed in combat.
Right. The loss of downfall.
Yeah. It's really good. This was a Kolaghan. But I found out that Kolaghan, the Storm's Fury, the dash one, I found out that I didn't want to pay 5 mana and dash it in and attack, and then bring it back to my hand and not have anything on the board the next turn. So I went with this, and I've been very impressed with that so far.
If nothing else, I found this in a lot of my Planeswalkers when I play Esper. Funny enough, even if you don't get to use them to their fullest ability, but they're almost like it's like gaining 4 life, right? I got to swing into it, I got to attack it. I have to waste an attack to kill it because I really don't want it sticking around. So,
but they usually have blockers out, so they have to maneuver around them too.
Right, or waste some damage or kill spells on that guy. So, Dragonmaster Outcast. But folks, if you don't have 4 Dragonmaster Outcasts like in your binder at home that you're not like bringing out to trade, do that immediately. That card's insane, and will continue to get more and more insane as Cons and Fate rotates out in the spring. It's a reprint from Worldwake originally. I think the Worldwake ones are like $10. This one's like $6.50. Hard to keep them in the store. Hard to keep them in the case. Just a dumb card. Just so good.
It's just a bomb. Like I don't know how many times I've played Mountain, turn 1 Mountain Dragonmaster Outcast, and I don't care if it dies. Like,
right.
It's there to block. It's there to get in a point or 2 of damage. Because every point matters, especially with this deck. You have a lot of ways to eke out wins just from this getting 1 to 2 points in, and then just having access to Ojutai's mana, which we'll talk about later, just to bring it back late game. Once you have 6 lands, just being able to counter one of their creatures and bring back Dragonmaster Outcast and untap and get a dragon. It's really powerful and it's really hard to beat because you just keep getting those dragons, and then they look in their hand and try to find a way to deal with that, not the 5/5 dragons coming down.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, one of our young up-and-comers, Blaze, was talking about deck building and building in what he calls lightning rods. Those things that are going to pull. Dragonmaster on 1 is going to pull that kill spell, so clears the way for Jace or Soulfire on 2. So, just another facet. And you drop them with 6 lands, and you better deal with them right now.
Absolutely.
I might want to deal with something else, but if I don't, now I got a horde of dragons.
Yeah, I'm just
dead. So
I like dragons.
Dragons seem good. And then 2 Tasigurs.
I think this was the reason why this deck it came up. Why Jeskai Black. I think this and Crackling Doom, which we'll talk about again later, are the reasons. Just being it's one black. You're most likely going to play one black for it every time, and just having a 4/5 that you can recur your spells and present a 4/5 body that blocks Siege Rhino. That blocks a lot of things on the ground. And can attack as well is really, really good in this metagame, especially a mid-rangey controlling metagame that we're in right now.
Right. And here's the other thing. It does give you another late game option, another mana sink, which is great. With her recursion. If you're new at Magic, folks, here's a real easy test for you to tell if cards are good. Are they played in Standard? Are they played in Modern? Are they played in Legacy? Jace fits that bill. Tasigur fits that bill since he came out. This just in. That's a pretty good card. Pretty good. And being able to play one black, again, splashable in a deck where you're really focused on the red, white, and blue, but the black with the fetches and the battle lands, not hard to get to. Well, great. We've spent a lot of time on the creatures here, but that's important. Let's get ahead and move on to the spells and take a look at those. All right, now we're going to move on to the spells here. Lots of spells and lots of different colors. Obviously playing 4 colors, and we get to take advantage of some of the best cards that are available in Standard. Starting with Crackling Doom, which is probably now that Hero's Downfall is gone, probably the best removal in Standard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's 3 mana. This is one of the reasons why we splash for black. This and Tasigur and Kolaghan. Man, it's just really good. I mean, Hangerback's an issue, but you can play around that. Like with Wild Slash, Fire Impulse, but the incidental damage of 2 damage, being able to get that incidental damage in and swing with Mantis Rider, like we talked about earlier, is really important. Killing a Gideon or killing a token and doing some damage to Gideon is really important in this meta because everyone's playing. If you're playing Gideon, you're playing 4 Gideons. There's no maybe play 1 for the new tech. No, you're playing 4 Gideons because 4 Gideons is good. So having those Crackling Dooms are really good as well.
Yeah, kill the token. 2 to him, drop a Mantis Rider, he goes bye-bye. It's also not stoppable. Like, Valorous Stance runs around, it's like, sacrifice your biggest creature. I don't really want to. I don't really care.
I hope you can counter it then.
You just lost your big boy.
Yeah. It's really getting into Esper Dragons as well. They like to sit behind the big boy, Dragon Ojutai, and you can, just Crackling Doom and tap play Mantis Rider freely because you don't have to worry about it because they're tapped out.
Say goodbye.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's move on. We're taking advantage of the commands that were printed in Dragons. Lots of options here. And even more so because of the colors that you're running. Give you, there really isn't anything you can't accomplish with a spell with these commands. Want to counter a creature spell? Got it. Want to kill a planeswalker? Got it. Want to bring something back from your grave? Got it. Want to make them discard? Got it. Want to kill an artifact? Got it. Want to gain some life? Got it.
These commands are always a 2-for-1. No matter what you do. Ojutai's command, draw a card at the very least, is one of the modes, no matter what else is going on in the game. Gain 4 life, very relevant almost every time unless you're playing control. Still might be relevant. Kolaghan's command, you always make them discard. Even if they don't have a card in their hand, even if you have to pick a mode, you can always make them discard. Always do 2 damage to them. The other modes are indicative of the situation, the board state. Sulimgar's command, there's no instant speed Hero's Downfall, so this is the next best thing that you want to do at instant speed. Destroy target planeswalker. That handles Gideon really well as well.
Sure.
Neg 3 to the token. Destroy Gideon. They play Gideon on a board that already has stuff. You counter Gideon, you neg 3 something. You could pop some back to the hand, like a Mastery Unseen, enchantment you can't remove. You might pop back to your hand and then counter something with the next turn with that. So all the commands are relevant. I'm playing as many commands as possible with the color combination that I'm in because all of them are good.
And 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, hey, bounce that really big Hangerback Walker back to your hand.
Yeah.
And then sacrifice your big thing.
Sulimgar's command was not as played with Hero's Downfall because you already had efficient removal to the planeswalkers, but now that's there. That's the efficient removal now, so it's really good. Right,
Ojutai's command is one of my favorites. Not to belabor the point, but the ability to bring back a converted mana cost 2 or less. That's Jace.
Jace. It's Soulfire. It's Dragonmaster Outcast. It's Erishan Cleric out of the side. It's
yeah, you got a buddy. You got a buddy who's trying to burn you. Bring an Erishan Cleric out of the side, right? Yeah. 2 drop. Drop it, gain 3 life, throw it in front of something, it dies. Next turn, Ojutai's command, bring it back, gain 3 life. Oh, and choose the answer. So that's like a 10-point swing.
Yeah,
in 2 blocks. Yeah. So it's like Feed the Clan.
It's called value.
Great. It's called. This is maybe instead of Jeskai Dark, you should call this Jeskai Value City. All right, let's look at the direct damage here. We've got 3 Wild Slashes, 2 Fiery Impulses.
These deal with Jace. I mean, you have to kill Jace, or Jace kills you. Not directly, because Jace doesn't actually do damage, but the things it can recur, the amount of times it sculpts your hand from having, I don't know how many times I kept a 2-land Jace hand or a 6-land Jace hand, and maneuvered it a certain way and sculpted my hand to where I need it for the matchup. So I know what it does. You know what it does. Everyone who plays with Jace knows what it does. You don't want it to do it against you.
Right.
So you play these. You play 5 of these. I decided 3 Wild Slashes because I want to have more direct damage spells if I need to get that last incidental damage in, or do 2 damage to a Gideon, or do 2 damage to somebody's faces. Or you use Fiery Impulse, which does it to only creatures, but it also has Spell Mastery that makes it bolt pretty much, but only for creatures. Killing a Mantis Rider with Spell Mastery is really big, especially late game. Swing in with your Soulfire Grandmaster, then blocking with the Siege Rhino, and then you Fire Impulsing, gaining 3, and then killing a Siege Rhino and gaining another 2 from your Soulfire. It's big. It's 5 life. That offsets the life that you lost from Siege Rhino. So I mean, there's nothing more I can say. They're efficient removal in this deck with red base removal. These are at their best.
It ain't nobody likes Siege Rhino unless you're running. And even then, I think you feel a little dirty about it. 1 Valorous Stance, 1 Dispel. Valorous Stance is another one of those, gives us a couple options.
Kill Siege Rhino.
Kill
Anafenza. Kill any of the Dragon Lords, except for Dragon Lord's Tie when it's untapped.
But also
protect Mantis Rider, protect Jace. How many times I've looted with the Jace. In response, they try to kill it before it flips, and I Valorous Stance. I mean, I'm wasting Valorous Stance on the Jace, but I think the flip version is more powerful. So, it offsets like that. But it provides you with more of a more elbow room, when you're conducting your deck and when you're examining the field. So I think that's really good. And Dispel, it's 1 mana, it's 1 blue. It's played in Modern, played in Grist Control, played in Escape Shift. It just provides so much utility. If you leave 1 blue mana up, and they see it in game 1, they have to worry about it game 2 and game 3. Even if you side it out, or even if you don't need it, they still have to worry about it.
Right.
So this is really in a field with all instants.
Yeah, this is everything that's really, really good, and it's all
instant charm, Jamoka's Command, complete disregard those things. So.
And last one here, 2 Dig Through Times. Let's see. If one of these spells is good, 2 of them is better. Yeah. Dig Through Time, obviously, powerful card since it came out. So powerful, in fact, they've banned it in Modern, Legacy, and it's one of it's restricted in Vintage. So, get your fill of Dig Through Time while you can. It's going to go away. But while you got it, might as well use it. And I
think this is one of the cards that will never be unbanned in Modern Legacy, just because when it's not banned, it promotes so many different decks and makes more decks powerful.
It warps them.
Yeah,
so completely warps.
But in Standard, it's really good. You're generally gonna pay 2 mana for it, but it's not broken. You're not doing that on turn 1 or turn 2. You 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it just provides you with so much utility, being able to find 2 cards instead of just drawing 3 like Treasure Cruise. Treasure Cruise is good, but instead of drawing 3, you get to pick what 2. You could draw 3 lands. But with Dig, you could see 3 lands first, and then 4 spells, and be able to pick 2 of those 4 spells. So,
right. Yeah. If it's in 2, we're talking about instants, and it's a lot of spells, not a single sorcery among them, which is really important. You're playing control. You're trying to keep your options open, as obviously the commands help you do. Dig is one of those things like, hey, I've got mana up for a command, I've got mana up for a Dispel, I've got mana up for a Wild Slash. Oh, I don't need any of them? I'll just dig that. Yep. I'll just find something of more value.
Yeah, you just played your land and said, go? All right, sure, dig.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, come the late game, need some more refuel, I got Jace, let's just dig out of the graveyard again.
Or Soulfire bounce it back. It's stupid. It's really good.
It's a really good card. Yeah. So, looks like a lot of solid spells here. To run these spells, to run the creatures, we need a solid land base, running 4 colors. We're going to look at what a 4-color land base looks like, specifically for this deck. Alright, so we've got a powerful deck. We need a very diverse mana base to make that work. Boy, there's a lot of lands here. So kind of all over the board. So we start with, 7 basic lands.
Yep.
No swamps.
No swamps.
3 plains, 3 mountains, and an island.
Swamps.
Oh, I know, but we need, we got black in here. We need a little.
You don't want basic swamp.
Don't need basic swamps. No, we need it when we need it. Then we've got some lands that give us some options. A Battlefield Forge, 1 Nomad Outpost, 1 Mystic Monastery.
Yep.
Outpost gives us white and black and red. So there's our first source of black. Mm-hmm. Battlefield Forge, kind of a curious little choice there.
Yeah. It's a red-white land. You want It's a Jeskai deck. It's a Dark Jeskai. You see Jeskai in there, but you want red, white, or black majority of the time. The blue is going to come, with this black. The blue is going to come with this white. But, if you're fetching, you want to get the white or the red first. You don't want the blue, really, just because you'll get that later in the game. Usually it comes in turn 3. The reason why these are in there is a one-of, just because I wanted to kind of solidify the land spot and make sure that, on turn 1 I can hit a Nomad Outpost and then fetch for a blue and play Jace, and still have the opportunity to face Soulfire Grandmaster.
Sure.
I wanted to be able to play, one of these two, play Dragonmaster Outcast on my second turn, and then fetch for a battle land that comes in tap, and then untap and fetch for planes and play a Mantis Rider. You really have to sequence your lands really well with 4-color decks. It's something that is very overlooked. But I have had no issues with this mana base. I fetch mana efficiently with this deck. I think the mana base is exactly where you want to be. I don't think there's any changes that I want to make. So if you think about running this deck, I think this is the mana base you want to work on. Obviously, Magic promotes change. Magic promotes kind of diversity and whatever you want to do. So feel free to try any mana base you want. But if you kind of want something that's been tested out and tried, this is it. I'm sure Ryan can help you with all the needs with this stuff. So
well, and trust me, there's nobody who plays more standard and gets more reps on his deck than Xavier. So that's a pretty strong statement coming from a guy who is in the battle, in the trenches, digging through. And if he says this is the way to run it, he said start there, and we'll move on. So we got 6 battle lands.
Yep.
The battle lands, along with the fetches, that's really sparked a lot of this innovation, a lot of the 4 colors.
Yep.
Island, they count as a basic land, and the fetches go get them. Again, we're going to lose those when cons go out. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to standard again.
Yeah,
we might be back down to mono and 2 colors.
I don't think so. I don't think you'll see as many 4 colors. I think you'll definitely see 3 colors, only because we get the other man lands. We get the blue-red one, the blue-white one, the black-green one, which I think is going to absolutely warp the format. I think that green-black-white is going to be really big. But I think that with this deck, I think fetches leaving is going to hurt. But I think that the blue-white and the red-white man lands are going to be really, really powerful in this list. So I think the mana is going to be restructured, but I think that it'll kind of work. But that's for other people to kind of test out and determine.
We're going to lose the fetches, and in this deck we run 10 of them, 3 strands, 3 mires, 4 deltas. That's really self-explanatory.
Yep.
And you kind of talked about what you want to get first. But you know what happens when we lose fetch lands? We're going to have to run Evolving Wilds, and I'm just
yeah, you love Evolving
that warms
Wilds.
my heart.
I'm not going to run Evolving Wilds.
You're going to run them.
I don't like my lands coming in tapped. So
you mark my words. One of these days.
I mark your words or mark my words?
Mark my words. One of these days, you're going to be like, Ryan, you know what I just put in this list? An Evolving Wild.
I'll run one for you.
All right. Hey, man. I
for
appreciate
the tech.
You let me know. I'll make sure you have a nice one. I have 600 of them or something.
I want a foil one.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
If you want it signed.
Yeah.
By me.
No, by CVM.
You can take care of that. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, X. We've spent a lot of time looking at all the facets of this deck. I think the only thing that's left for people now to do is to get out and play it.
Yeah.
Lots of great options. You talked about this deck being able to play from ahead, from behind. It plays control-y, it plays aggressive. It really takes advantage of what's available in Standard right now. I think it's a lot of fun. You like it?
Yeah, I love the deck. I mean, it performed really well as everyone that I played against saw today. But it's just really strong, and it does a lot of powerful things. And the mana base and the fetch lands and the battle lands made this deck possible. And I think that it's only gonna go from here. So I'm very, very happy with the list.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. It's always good to have you back up here at Pops. I know you're a busy guy down there at Pentech, but really enjoyed sitting down with you, playing a couple of games, getting a chance to look at this deck, and talking it over. So this is really a great mana base that really makes the deck roll. I think that all that's left right now for people to get out and sleeve this up and give it a shot.
Absolutely.
So, really appreciate, Xavier, you sitting down with us, taking the time to show us your deck. Always good to have you up here at Pops. Also want to thank you for the contributions that you're making on our blog. Some really high-level articles from Xavier, and he's a guy who's out, like I said, he's in the trenches, he's out there at the GPs, he's working it, he's grinding it, he's playing a lot of Magic. He's the kind of guy that you want to take advice from because he really knows what he's talking about and has lived it, played it, seen it, or talked to some of the pros who've kind of guided him. So just a great resource for us, for the community as a whole. And please keep checking out our deck techs, check out our blog, and we will be back with you very shortly with another Dr. Magic deck tech here from Pops Culture. Thanks for watching.